then the lady was like, "Oh my God, it's amazing, fantastic." In my mind, I'm like, somebody else could have done it better than.
Yeah.
But she loved mine.
But you can't. That's the part you gotta get out of your mind.
Right.
You gotta be confident in what it is that God gave you. I know you was you know what the man gave the talent to. He said, he buried the talent because he knew that, the man was a strict man or whatever. I might be paraphrasing, but he felt like that he was gonna be in trouble because if he did something instead of multiplying his gift. That's what the enemy want to keep you froze on. He want to keep you stuck in a place where what you thinking, whatever I have to offer is not good enough. Matter of fact, it's not even about what's in my hand. Me, I'm not good enough.
Yeah,
I'm not good enough. And that's not the truth. That is a lie. That's a lie. And that's why we have to constantly, kind of remind ourselves and, speak to ourselves and say, I am beautiful. I am enough. I am an overcomer. Whatever it is that you're dealing with, you speak the opposite of what God is, what the enemy is trying to get you to believe. And when you begin to know God and you have a relationship with God, and you begin to grow, because this is not an overnight thing. Nobody in this room, I don't care how long we may have been doing what we're doing now, it's still a challenge. I stand before you today, challenge right now. But I would not allow the enemy to shut my mouth and not come here. You know what I'm saying? And not show up. Because I say, you know what? I had to go forward anyway. No matter what happens, if you call me, I'm gone. Okay, she's trying to find her son. You ready for us?
Lord, just based on what you just said as far as overcoming something, right? You just witnessed to her about your situation. But yet in the middle of it, you witnessed to yourself.
Yeah.
And so you just overcame your situation by breaking back out.
Right.
You want to share anything else?
Oh, no, that's
And also, like, what young women today, like, instead of y'all beating yourself up about what you can't do right or what you don't think is enough, the same friend you are to another person, be that to yourself. Encourage yourself no matter what.
All right, you ready for your song? Okay, we listening. I thought you said you was ready.
I'm gonna go home.
Okay.
Come on, you project your voice. I'm not gonna look at you.
All right.
You said show. Don't mind that. She's doing good. Well, you know that's your friends. You know how your friends is. They're gonna cousins, okay. Yeah, they're gonna. This okay.
And we can deny it, but you are, but I'm after you. But the truth is, everyone knows. Me too. You can't be scared to shut that girl.
Overcame. So you gotta write this in your journal. On this day.
This is your age.
Yeah. That's true.
That's all right.
You say you still can, guess what? I started
it.
singing in front of a church when I was 12. My cousin was in my ear all night. You like this, you like this. I get this feeling in my stomach every time I sing. I sing at funerals, weddings, my sister wedding. I cry when I sing because I'm like, I'm 29. That was when I was 12. You gotta push through it anyway because God wants you to do that. God wants you to do that. You gotta share that voice. That voice is beautiful.
Yeah.
You have to share that.
Share your
And I'll tell you the truth, every time I get up to minister to God's people, I'm scared. I come here, but I gotta do it. I gotta do it. Like, it's not that, I mean, I'm afraid. I'm like, I don't want to say the wrong thing.
Right.
So those things.
I want to say this too, though. Just because you're nervous, that doesn't mean that something's wrong.
Right.
If
That's right.
anything, that sign, it's a sign that you're actually humble and you're not full of yourself.
Exactly.
Which means that God can actually get the glory through you because you're not going to try to take His glory.
Amen.
So that is a good sign. Keep doing what you're doing, and even when you face opposition, keep going because you have something. I was listening to your voice, and I hear a lot of fight. I hear it in you. Don't lose it. Even when people come against you, remember you have this in you because God placed it in you. Don't be afraid of it. It's gonna make room.
It's gonna make room for you. That's a word.
Yeah. Oh my God. Okay, so we on to the last bag I gave out was domestic violence. And I just want to share, a little bit about, domestic violence and, how it affected my life, how it even started. Because, we oftentimes look at the males and say, oh yeah, well, he did this and he did that. I was so angry, and when I met a person that loved me different and was trying to show me love, I really wasn't a trustworthy person because I had been, cheated on or been betrayed, verbally abuse is a form of abuse. And I'll tell you, and I'll say this to any woman, and I tell, even the women in my family, younger and coming up, I hid first. He wasn't a person that did that. I opened the door. This is another side of domestic violence that women may not, really share. I opened the door for that because he never put his hands on me. He never called me out my name, but because of who I was and a mess that I was, I did that to him. And now that I know what I know and growing, I know that, God, dealt with me on, and that's how I'm able to stand here with you guys and tell you guys that today is, no matter what you may think, even the person is doing you wrong, don't put your hands on nobody's child, nobody's daddy, nobody's son. Keep your hands to yourself. Yeah. I know, I could see it. Look at him out there. I'm gonna be beating him up. Me too. But and I didn't want to share that and look at this young lady. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But let me tell you why. Because like I say, I started it. But guess who finished it? Yeah. I ain't won't fight no more. I was the disrespect, like it had went on to him for a long time. And when he got the nerve to start hitting back and cursing and doing stuff, oh my God.
You thought the world was over?
I was black and blue. I'm black eyes. I almost lost my teeth down here. It was really serious. The stuff that I did to him couldn't even amount up to the what I got abused. Now I'm not saying he was right. Don't get me wrong, because he could have left. Without even, because I wasn't the person for him. Because I was started out abusing him first. You know what I'm saying? But he stayed because we called it toxic love. We were in toxic love. And so it just became a norm. When we argue, or whatever, we just know we're gonna fight. That is the most unhealthiest and darkest place I ever been in my life. At all times, riding in a car, you don't know when you're gonna get hit. You know when a person gonna come and you might say the wrong thing and they just like, I'm tired of you, and just boom, just throw you around, just abuse. Abuse is abuse, y'all. I'm not trying to dim it down or make it out to be like, oh, this man was so right, because at some point he joined in on it. But I know that I had a hand in that because he never was abusive towards me. I was abusive towards him for years. You understand what I'm saying? Like cursing, hitting, just doing things that, when you learn that you have a king, when you get in those type of relationships, there's certain ways that you have to treat a man as a woman, and that just wasn't it. So I don't want to talk about his side. I want to talk about what I know I did. I say he finished. You know what I'm saying? We're no longer together. We done and done. You know what I'm saying? But my thing is, I know I started it. I opened the door for that. A lot of times when you hear domestic violence, you hear about the man. You hear about the man. He did me this, he did me that. And a lot of women are just like me. They ain't gonna tell you they started it. But I started that. I opened the door. So I just like to now let young women know, do not, if you can help it, don't disrespect a man. Don't call him out his name. Especially our black men, they are already so beat down. They're already trying to find their place. They're already trying to, figure this world out. And then come home to a woman that totally disrespects them. Just totally, take them for granted, or totally, just don't have any type of real love for them. Because how could I love him when I wasn't loving myself? Mm-hmm. So when God began to work on me with that, I began to realize that wasn't shit for me. That wasn't that, and it made it easier to do what? Walk away. But when I was upset and trying to do it, you couldn't tell me who was two crazy toxic people. If I came home from work and I was on 10, he was on 20. It just didn't, and it was just a cycle, a vicious cycle, sis, a vicious cycle. You understand what I'm saying? That's something that you do not want to carry out as a young queen, because you don't have to. You don't have to take it, and you don't have to start it. You don't like how a person treats you, you don't like what they're doing, don't like what they say, leave.
That's right.
You don't have to start putting your hands on somebody or calling them out their name to get your point across, or to make them feel like they're respecting you, or to gain the respect that you think you get, because all of the time you just going down, you're degrading yourself as a woman. So young men that are overly protective and they like already showing signs, that's red flags. If they had young men in here, and I would say that to them about a woman, if already showing signs of violent behavior or just, doing you things, that's a red flag. That may not be mentioned. You may like that person. When I say I was a good provider, just was trying to love me the right way. But I wasn't ready for that. I wasn't ready for that kind of love. I didn't know what it was. It was weird to me. So I find fault in almost everything that he did. It was wrong, or it was just not enough, or whatever the case may be. I just found ways to, and then I learned that when studying and going, overcoming, and my words are to edify people, like I'm standing here doing today. They're not to tear people down, man or woman. My words are not to tear you down, there to build you up. But how would I get to know that if I didn't try this journey with God? That's what I mean about when I say that my steps. Because everything that had happened, the single mind overcoming, the business, the fear of not thinking that I could do it. How many times I tried the business and it didn't work out? And I just had to keep trying to the one that God had for me. Because sometimes you may try some stuff and it don't work out, but that don't mean that that's not for you to be an entrepreneur. It just meant that wasn't the one for you. It's something else, or it's coming later. And then back to the domestic violence. So these are all the things that I'm overcoming and I'm able to share with you guys and many more, on days like this, to be able to come and say, hey, no matter what it is, that you're going through or how you experience it, know that you're an overcomer. Learn who you is. Sometimes we get in relationships and we're not ready for that. We have to get to know who we are as women. As young women, we think we know our bodies and we don't even know our bodies yet. And we, at the age of 18, we done slept with 25 people. It's crazy. It happens. It happens. Because we're trying to do what? Look for love in all the wrong places. We thinking because we having sex with a person that's gonna keep them, or they gonna like us more. You are overcome. Each and every one of you. Yeah, you guys have any questions or anything for us?
I have. You said earlier, about being scared. You were scared to come here today?
Yes.
So you could do.
Well, let's say he knew he was in a fight, but that's not the point. Yeah, see. Don't get no joy.
I just.
They're way stronger than Lord, please. No, but I would say, like you saying that, and it may be jokingly, because be careful. That's a door you don't want to open.
I'm telling you.
That's the key. Well, don't hit nobody
else.
Don't hit nobody else.
I would say this,
Yeah.
right, and that's what I'm saying, being a mother of a son, we always teach our boys, don't
hit a girl. Yeah.
But then when it comes to the place where girls have no respect or boundaries to your son, it's like, how did you tell your son not to protect himself? Then, and so it's the best thing is like, and like my son is a big football player, so him hitting someone, you out. Even like me, I'm like, he did, if I was to hit him and he hit me back, it's over. So I would never, like, you have to put in your mind, I'm not
abusive physically, but I was dating a big old football player. Like she said, and everybody used to be like, "Girl, you better stop talking to that boy like that." But he, and thank God he wasn't nobody that wanted to harm me, but he could have. And the thing that I said reflected now, when I started dating him when I was your age, 17. I stopped dating him at 15 years, but he could have beat me up, and I wouldn't have had no fight. None. And I got a little scuffle with me, but I wouldn't know him. He's a big old dude, and you gotta watch what you say, because some of the things you say, you could really hurt somebody with your words and trigger them to react. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's what I say. I'm talking about 6 feet tall football player, muscle police officer.
Yeah.
So I mean, you gotta be fit to be on the force. Yes. And me crazy. I was on my mind. To even think I could stand up to something, someone and just, you know what I'm saying? Come on. Don't do it, sis.
Overcome that. Overcome that.
It's not fighting the individual, it's fighting within yourself. Just
There you go. There you go. Because that was me.
Whatever he said, it puts you back into that place where you lost yourself in that, and you lost your voice. So he's saying something, he's doing something, and now you're fighting back because you are a fighter. But you're a fighter to build a person up. But when they got you in a corner, you're fighting to get out of that corner. It's just like a little mouse. You see a little mouse in your home, and you set traps for him, and he'll find his way down that wall because they're running down the wall, really. But if you put that trap there, he's gonna see it and he's gonna bite at it, and then he's gonna kill himself because he wants that cheese. But that's what's happening to you. They're backing you in that corner. So you're fighting to get out because you're already fighting yourself to get out of who you really are. You understand what I'm saying?
Not the hand come up. So she knows.
And I was gonna say, like, even with Queen today, like, what you were saying about your young black men, we are nurturers, so it's good to nurture our black men. If we want them to do right, we have to also do right by them and encourage them. And if somebody's not encouraging you in a relationship, you don't need them.
Yeah, that's not the person.
Encouragement. We need to encourage each other, and we need to focus on how can we uplift ourselves. And if somebody put pressure on you, they not for you.
Yeah, right.
You had something, Trinity?
Would she like to be on that?
No, I don't need being. I just be talking. But if a girl was to hit your son, would you let him?
No, I've told him don't. I told him whatever he does, just walk away. If it's a situation where I would never want. I'm sorry, that was me. Like the man trying to leave and get out your way, but I was, still no, I'm not. So no. I didn't think I was wrong.
She's not, don't hit him much, but like, don't hit him.
No,
No,
I'll just say I have a younger son, and last year he had a little girl.
You gotta know what you know. Society glorifies toxicity.
Yeah, that's not the thing.
They go, and I mean, she talks about how they love toxic. And the thing about it is when you're young, you're like, oh yeah, that's not supposed to be. But it is so unhealthy. And as a former domestic violence counselor, it's not a joke, it's not funny. And if man wants to try to control, matter of fact, look up the power and control wheel in your personal time. Look up that wheel because it talks about all of the traits of an abuser.
Yeah.
And for every single survivor that I've worked with, when I show them that wheel, they were able to identify every single thing, almost every single thing on that wheel. And I'm like, wow, he does that, he does that, he does that, he does that. It's a slow work, but look up the power and control wheel. Domestic violence is not funny. Yeah. It's not love. There's nothing about it. Nothing. It's about power and control. And treat people the way you would want to be treated.
That's right.
If you don't want them down to you, don't talk down to them. If they want to hit you, don't hit them. I know we get upset, but we have to learn to utilize our words to express how we're feeling.
Yes.
In conjunction to what has been done to us. I feel boom, 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 boom when you blink.
Right.
Get straight to the issue. It's about, because ultimately it's about how you feel.
Yeah.
How someone has made you feel. Right. So attack the issue, not each other.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That's it. That's all I have.